So to check this source and QC datasets after the QC programmer has completed his part 2, at the end he will use this proc compare option. So in proc compare, what are the different options present? So first we'll give proc compare, then we'll give the base dataset name. Base dataset name is nothing but the source programmer's dataset, and compare is the QCS dataset. So he has to name the source program dataset name here, and compare dataset name here. And if you want to output all the differences and the name of in which dataset he want to output, those will be printed here. And he also can use by which variables he want to compare. He can use by group. Two datasets should be sorted by this variable. So if you want to compare by using by variables, you need to sort by using by variables. I will say what, where, and with do. So now we'll take some examples, we'll create some datasets, and we'll work on proc compare. So first I'm creating dataset called one, and here I'm creating variable student, year, state, gr1 and gr2. His grade 1 and grade 2 or rank, printing their percentages. So the first I'm printing here 5 variables and 4 observations. Let us run this dataset. So I have variable student, year, state, grade 1 and grade 2. Similarly, I'm printing the other dataset called dataset 2. Here also I'm printing different values for different variables. Now let us open both the datasets and see manually what are the differences between. Okay, the first observation. Okay, the first observation has student number 1000 in both datasets, and their year is 1970 and their state is NC. And GR1 and GR2, here it is 84, here it is 85. And for GR2, here it is 87 and it's matching here. And here we have one more extra variable called major. So now I want to print all the differences between these two data sets. So let's see how it works in the programming. So proc compare, base is equal to 1, compare is equal to 2, run. So here I'm not outputting the data set. So in such cases, it will be printed. Proc compare in the base is equal to 1. I'm taking this as my base. So what is it saying? What is my proc compare saying? Work.1 has how many number of variables? 5. How many number of observations? 4. So is this work.1? This is work.1. So work.1 has 5 variables and 4 observations. That's true. And in work.2 there are 6 number of variables and 5 number of observations. Let's go to 2. Okay, totally 1 2 3 6 variables and 5 observations. That's true. Number of variables in common. How many variables are in common? 5, right? because in the second data set there is extra variable called major. In the second data set, this is the extra variable, but all other variable names are matching, right? So how many common variables do we have? 5 common variables. Number of variables in work 2 but not in work 1. So it prints all the types of differences, all the possible type of differences. So it also says how many number of variables are present in work.2 which are not in work.1, right? And number of variables with conflicting types, 1. Number of variables with different attributes, 1. So list common variables with listing of common variables with conflicting types. So what is that variable which is not matching student? Let's go to student and see what's the difference in these two. See here student is numeric variable, here it is character variable. If you see attributes, you'll know that. Here student is character variable. In dataset 1, it is numeric variable. So it also printed the difference, right? So it says here, if you can see work.1, its type is numeric. In work.2, student is character. So it lists common variables with conflicting type. That means if there are any differences with attributes, it prints those conflicting type variables. And when it comes to attributes, GR1 in dataset 1 has format 4.1. GR1 in dataset 2 has 5.2. See here, two decimals, right? So it is called 5.2 format, and here we have 4.1. So why is the difference? Have we assigned any formats? Yes, if you see here, I have assigned format here for the GR1 variable. Here I am assigning 4.1, here I am assigning 5.2. So the difference also printed. So the difference between attributes, the conflicting types, and different types of variables are printed. Now, if you go in detail, what was the first unequal observation? 1. What was the last observation? 4. Last match 4. So all sort of issues are printed. Total number of observations read from dataset 1 4 and work.2 5. And if you go to the down, you can see those differences. In the state variable, what are the differences we have? In the second observation, what is my base? Base is dataset 1, compare is dataset 2. So in dataset 1, I have Maryland in for second observation for variable state. See here I have Maryland. If I go to my other dataset, in dataset 1 I have Maryland, in the second one I have Massachusetts. So in 4 I have Massachusetts, and I have Maryland in dataset 2. Here I have Massachusetts in the fourth observation. Here I have Maryland. So it also prints the differences in all the variable values. If I go to GR1 in dataset 1, it's printing 85.0, and in dataset 2 it has 84.0. See here I have 85.0, here I have 84. If you see here, this is 78 for observation 3 and 79 for same observation 3 in dataset 2. Here I have 79, here I have 78. So all other differences also printed similarly. See here also GR2 difference is printed. Any questions, guys? Anyone? Did you have any confusion how this proc compare is working? So what is it doing? It is printing the total number of variables and observations in the both data sets, and it also shows what are the differences that are present, and it prints if there are any differences in attributes or any conflicting types, it will be printing those, and it will be also printing the differences in values. All the possible mismatches in the data set are being printed.
Sir,
Okay, yeah.
have you opened the results? Did you just did run and it came automatically?
Yeah, it pops up automatically.
Okay.
Yeah. Actually, hi boss key, do you have any questions? Hello.
No, not yet.
Were you able to attend the
Yeah.
last class? I thought you were not there in the last class.
No, I was there.
Okay.
Sir, the variable option and width option we are not using here in compare, right?
No, you can. We use those in different situations. There are a lot other options in Proc compare. I will show now some more options for you.
Okay.
Yeah. See here I'm using var state and with state. Now let's see what happens. No need to close this. Once you run automatically, the new result will be creating and it will be updated. See now only the differences in the, it starts from here now. It prints all the different, it prints what are the different observations and what are the conflicting types. But when it comes to values, it only prints the values of variable state. It doesn't print, if you see in the previous report, all gr1 differences and gr2 differences also printed, right? But once we are defining var and with, it only compares particular variable, but in the attributes and other thing, it gives the differences in the other things too. If you see here, it says what does the dataset contain and what are the conflicting types, but it doesn't print the values of other variables. See here also it printed only if it is, if state has any differences, that prints, but format is not printed. In the previous thing, if you see, format is also printed, right? Differences in the formats.
Yeah. Yes. We did overall the comparison. Here you will just specify which variable you want to compare.
Yeah. See here formats also printed, because we are not saying specifically about gr1, gr2 or state variable, right?
Yeah.
But here we are defining specifically that I need only the results of the variable state.
Okay.
Same thing, I'm using var here.
So we have to give the both line and both would be the
Yeah,
same variable?
yeah.
Okay.
Compare var with var,
Okay. Okay.
because sometimes there might be differences in variable names and you want to compare those, then you can do, I guess. I never tried that.
Okay.
You can try after the class.
Okay. Thank you.
See, here if you see, when it comes to here, there are no differences. Let's see what's happening. Okay, has 1970, 1971, 1969 and 1970. So first four observations are matching, right? In both data sets. We are comparing only year here.
Yeah.
And it won't compare observation 5 because there is no observation 5 in the dataset 1, but it prints the differences. When you see here, it says there are only 5 observations in dataset 1 and 6 in dataset 2. But whenever you are comparing, the most thing that you need to take care is, once if you see unequal is equal to 0, or you see all values are compared is equal to equal, don't skip the proc compare program. Go to the top part and see if there are any differences here. That's not printing the difference because the total number of observations are not matching in the both data sets, right? So it's not able to compare the last observation. It's not able to compare the fifth observation. It's not able to compare the fifth observation, so it doesn't print. Still it is an issue, right? So you need to go to the variable summary part and look at if there are any differences, or you need to look at dataset summary also. So most of the people, sometimes they skip once they see unequal is equal to 0, all values are compared or exactly equal, they skips the top part. So don't never do that. See, now I want to output the dataset. I don't want to print it. So whenever you don't want to print anything in any proc procedure, you can use an option called no print. Not only in proc compare, either in proc free, proc means, or any other procedures. If you don't want to print it in the output window, and if you want to output in a dataset, then you can do that. Now let's run this. Compare 1 and 2. So it is printed in dataset here. So it prints the, let's go and open the datasets. So year is matching in all places, right? So year has null value, and state is not matching in these both places, right? So it prints like it is a character, so it prints X value. If it is a numeric, it prints the difference between both the dataset values. Here we have 84, here we have 85, and it prints the difference between these two variables if it is a numeric. If it is a character variable, it prints like this. If everything is matching, it prints like this. For numeric, if it is matching, it prints as 0. Whatever the format is present for both datasets, that is printed. Here it is printed as 0 if it is matching, because here we don't have any format or decimals, right? So it's printed here. But if here it is 0.0 because here we have some format. So that is how it is printed. Most of the times you won't be outputting the dataset. Always you'll be running into, you'll be printing it and checking it. That is the most suggested way. Or
Sir,
yeah, go ahead.
there is in result there is -1, -1 is there. So and the third observation there is +1. So it says like it does 2 minus 1, like output 2, work 2 minus work 1. So it gives -1, right?
Yeah. So you don't need to worry about those. First, it indicates that itself there is some difference, right? That's all we need to take care, and we need to try to match it with. We need to check where the mistake is. Is it with the source programmers, or is it with the QCers? So if it is having some value, first of all, we know that there is some difference for both of us. That's all we need to worry about.
Okay, sir.
What is the difference in value? So you need to know what is the difference in value and why is it coming. But our main goal is to match both data sets, right?
Right.
Yeah. So that's
Yes.
all we need to worry about.
But why it's showing somewhere -20, somewhere -1,
Because
and
no, because it's subtracting from the other data set.
yeah, but it's not subtracting exact. It's giving some arbit number. Means like if I see the four observation for -20, it's like
No,
it's
it's matching, right? 94 and 74. It's subtracting
okay.
fifth observation, fifth variables with fourth observation.
Okay. Okay.
It's matching correctly. If you can see the
Okay.
difference,
Okay.
here it is
Okay.
1 because it's 73 here and it's 72 here.
Okay. And okay.
Yeah, once if I send the program, you can run yourself and check it again.
Okay.
So what out all does is, it prints all the differences. Like first it prints the differences from the base data set, it prints the differences in the compare data set, it prints the differences in both the data sets. So it's adding two more lines. It's printing values of both data sets and it prints the difference. It prints the values of both data sets and it prints the difference and percentages. Here you should be able to understand clearly. Run it and see. If you see here, I have 94 here, 74 here. The difference is 20 and difference in percentage is this one. Here it is 87, 87. The difference is 0 and percentage difference is 0. Here it is 92, 92. So you can find all sort of differences. So for that what I did, out all. So it outputs dataset 1 values, dataset 2 values, and it also outputs the differences between all the values. So it outputs only base. It outputs only base values. What else we have? So it outputs differences. It should be similar to the first one. Two. See, it's similar to this one. It outputs the compare, which is dataset 2. In the compare, I have given dataset 2, right? So what is my output dataset? Comp and comp. It output the values and variables of compare dataset 2. It is. So this is again same like out difference or the regular compare. It prints the not equal values. So now I'm using by variable. What happens if I use by variable? Previously we used var and with, right? Now I am using variable by. So if you need to use by variable, it should be always sorted. Even in proc merge, what did we do to merge both data sets? Any one of you?
Yeah, by we
No,
use
Vibha, can I ask someone? Anjali, can you say me what did we do in proc merge? Sorry, in data merge. What did we do to merge two datasets? Let's say I have dataset 1 and dataset 2. How did we merge both datasets? Anjali, can you hear me? Or how about Bosky, can you answer that? What did we do in merge?
Hello. Hello.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, actually, I was not present in the last class, so I don't know. I have to go through that. I saw, but I didn't practice, so I don't know how to do that.
So I had sent you notes, right?
Yeah, you sent me
I
the
thought
note.
you said you attended last class.
No, I didn't attend the last class. When I saw the message, it was already 9:30, so I did not attend the
But I
class.
thought I asked earlier, did you attend the last class, right? You said yes.
No, I didn't say. You
Ah, okay.
asked to the boss key, and time it was
Oh, who is this? Anjali is talking now. Oh, I thought Bosky is talking. Sorry.
no, didn't
Okay, okay.
attend the last class. That's why I sent the mail that you should tell me earlier. Because I
Okay,
expecting the class on
okay,
the
that's fine
Tuesday.
then. Bosky, can you answer this?
Um, for we have to like sort the data set first, and then use
So
proc
I need to,
sort
so
data.
no, let's say I have dataset 1 and dataset 2. I need to sort only one dataset or both the datasets?
I guess
For the
both.
merge one to one,
I need to merge both datasets 1 and 2.
yeah, you have to sort. You have to sort to like go one and two both.
Okay, so how do we sort both the variable datasets? So can you say me syntax, like how did we sort in the last class? We used one proc procedure to sort the datasets. So let's say I want to sort it by these both variables. So what is my syntax?
It's gonna be proc set sort data equal to student by
No,
year.
dataset name is one and I want to sort by variables student and year.
Then data equals 1 and by
Monica,
student.
can you answer this?
I guess, hello,
Yeah,
Kumar, I guess it's data equals 1 and we can sort by student and year.
yeah, that's right, Anjali. So we have to give the dataset name first and then by we need to use the variable names which we need to sort with. So here we are doing the same thing. So I want to use, first I'm sorting dataset 1. Let me close this before sorting.
Sir?
So if you need to sort, you need to close your datasets. Okay, I'm sorting dataset 1. I'm also sorting dataset 2 by variable called year, and now I'm comparing both datasets. I'll show you what's the difference. Now let's say I'm using two more different options called listvar and listobs. So what does listvar do? Listvar prints all the differences in variables and listobs prints all the differences in observations. Either you can use this or instead of using this you can also use list all. It does the same thing. So you can use listvar listobs or you can also use list all. So let me run this now. So it's same like we did before. It prints all the possible results. See here it printed an extra thing called listing of variables. It printed an extra line, right? Previously it didn't print this line, right? In the first place it didn't print that line. If you go here, it didn't print what are the differences with variables. So if you want to print the differences with those also, you can do like listing of variables in work.2 but not in work.1. It printed here what is that variable, extra variable that is present, that was not shown earlier. It was just saying in the top part that we have 5 and 6 variables or 4 or 5 observations. It just said in the top part in the dataset summary, but it didn't print separately these differences, right? So here if we see, it printed the difference also. Let me go slow. Yeah. Here it printed that also. Listing of variables in work.2. So this variable is not present in the other data set, right?
Yes.
See, and here it printed observation 5 in work.2 not found in work.1. It also said which observation is not present in a separate window, right? Here it showed in a separate window. So that's how list_var and list_obs works.
Sir, we can just compare two data set or we can compare more.
We can compare two. We have only two dataset option because one will be base, the other one will be compared.
Okay.
So see here I'm using list all. It does the same thing. Let's say here if I want to use by year. If there are any differences, it prints those differences by using variable called year. So there are no differences in variable year. So let's use some other thing. Or you can use called ID variable. If you need to use ID variable also, you need to sort those. See, my ID will be year. The differences will be shown as for year. What is happening here is, let me open both datasets again. So it compares all the variables and observation. When there is any mismatch, it prints with at which place of the year the difference is occurring. See here it is printing 1970. In 1970 year, dataset 1 has Massachusetts, dataset 2 has Maryland, right? See, if you see 1970, the first 1970 is matching. Both has NC. Okay, that's matching. This is not matching. 1970 has here Maryland, and here I have Massachusetts. So it prints the year. Where is the difference? Because here we are using ID variable called year, right? So if you use any other variable, that will be my ID. Let's say, why do we use ID variable is, normally in companies, if you are working on any data set, there will be an ID for each patient, right? So you want to see where is the difference been coming. Let's say I have lab test chemistry and the values are differing from source and QC program. Let's say I have lab data set, okay? I have subject ID 1, 2, 3 and 4. And let's say this will be source values and this is my QCR's values. QCR is nothing but validator values. So let's say for chemistry test, I have values 20, 25, 30, 35. Here I have 21, 26, 31 and 36. So now if I want to find the difference in the values by IDs, if you say proc, just use proc compare without using ID variable, it will print observation 1 has value 20 for dataset source, but for dataset QCR it has value 21. But when we use ID variable, it says ID number 1 has data value 20 in source and 21 in QCR. That's what been happening here. Here I have used my ID variable as year. So it printed according to the year. If I have subject number, it will print according to subject number. That's why we use ID variable. So ID variable is also important. I think I haven't included that here. And there are a lot other options. There's an option called criterion. I want you guys to know what is a criterion option. Google it and find it, and I will ask someone in the next class. Note this somewhere. Criterion. There is an option called criterion. And I also want from you guys, what does max print do? So I will define here, and I will send those options here, and you can answer it to me in the next class. So what options I need, those options will be included. Just give me 1 minute, guys. So you can also use options called max print. You can also use options called criterion. There will be hundreds of options in proc compare also. So I want you guys to find out what these options do. So in next class I will be asking someone what these options will be doing. So try to find out how those options work. And there are a lot other options. If you are interested, you can Google it, and there will be hundreds of options for proc compare also.
Sir, by group variable, we are not using even that, right?
Yeah, it's I tried it here, right? It does the same thing. It compares by. Here we have no differences with year, right? So it's not printed. No, I
Okay.
haven't used here, but there are no differences, it didn't print.
Okay.
Yeah. So Google for these options, and I will ask you guys in the next class. Okay.
Okay.
Uh, Guys, don't think what am I saying in the class is enough for you, or that is only with the any procedure I'm explaining. For any procedure, there will be lot of options. Each and every option can be explained in the class. So you guys, once the class is completed, you can go with the Little SAS book, or if you go to Google, let's say if I want to work on proc compare, my date is